it's about time we do another free Mixdown. This again is a record from the demo drop in my UNDRSIEGE Connect community. Jerico sent in this record called House and Techno. I really liked the record, but I thought it could do with a proper Mixdown and some small tweaks. So I selected it for the free Mixdown. Thanks for trusting me with your music, and we're gonna look at what I've done with it. So let's have a listen to the main track. So this is his version.
House and techno, that's how this goes. House and techno, that's how this goes. House and techno, that's how this goes. Techno, that's how this goes. House and techno, that's how this goes. House and techno, that's how this goes. That's how this goes. Go.
So you can hear the idea is like a bit of a, I would say, old school two-room track sound. The kind of sound that I used to do a lot with them, and like something I really still love. They moved away from it a little bit, I think, but I think it's like it has great energy, like a techno drive with tech house or house drums, and I think this works great. Now, one thing I noticed when listening to the original version is like the balance isn't quite right, and you can hear like the lead is pretty thin. And also the drums, they are not thick enough. So I think that was like my main takeaway from the first listen was like, okay, I need to thicken up the drums, fix the low end, and mix it correctly. Also, I'm gonna duplicate this to a new channel. So the original arrangement was a bit different as well. So again, this is like arrangement like the way we used to do it was like an intro of like 1.5 minutes, breakdown, drop, breakdown, drop. Whether you like it or not, everything's getting shorter. So like I shortened in the intro, the breakdown at 1 minute in, and then I think I shortened the drop as well. Yeah, so we had a section here which I think was not necessary, just straight into the breakdown, and then he had this pre-drop which I think sometimes it works having a little silence or something there, but I think like in this case this wasn't needed. So I removed this part, move it like that, and then I just removed that pre-drop thing, move it there. I think that sounds big enough, just dropping into that. That's what I did with the arrangement. Then mixing wise, I kept kick. Kick was great choice, like fat chunky kick, and you can hear the kick is big part of the big low end, together with the bass, like solo the bass first, classic two-room tracks bass. I did add some compression to even out the levels a bit, some R bass, giving it some extra bass, and then Kickstart and Trackspacer to sidechain it to the kick, so kick and bass work together. The kick is great, but it lacks a bit of an attack, so I layered it with a top kick, which is just a kick from my sample pack, and it's literally just a click. What this allows you to do is to you can drive the top kick a little bit louder, so the kick cuts through the mix better without boosting the low end too much. And then I added a kick roll in the breakdown, just like to support the snare roll. Nothing fancy. We'll get to that in a second. Then the hi-hats. So these are the original hi-hats. Sounded pretty good. I just layered them with a closed head, open head, added some shakes, and also added a ride in there. So he had like a ride in his drums, but I want to drive it louder. So instead of asking for parts, I'll just layer an extra on top of it. Doesn't hurt to layer some more drums in there. So all together it sounds like this. Then claps. This is the original clap. Good sounding clap. I just layered it with this. Just giving it a little bit extra. And then he had some nice like fills in there as well. You can hear they are a bit lower in volume and filtered down a little bit. So I layered them with some extra claps to like make that fill pop out a little bit more in the mix. And then his percussion, which is simple but necessary. This adds to like that feel that you want. You can hear it here. It really adds to the groove. I think that's really, really cool. So that's already quite a few layers added on, but still, like when I had this, it felt like it needed more, even more drums. So I added in a bunch of loops. So he has had this loop, and then I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops on top of that. And if I play the loops together, so they work with the rhythm that we had already. But they just lay underneath it. So this is the original top loop. The highs, they sound like very good and cut through the mix really, really well. So I kept that. And then I layered it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops from my own sample pack. Very simple. Like that's the whole point of these top loops in the pack, is like just layer it underneath your drum and they will thicken everything up without sounding like in your face or recognizable. Then I was still missing, so I had these loops and I was still missing some frequencies. So I felt like it could do with some percussion, but this is not the type of record to go on full with your bongos or anything like that. So I didn't want like real percussion. So I went through some Mark Knight loops because they have like small bits and blobs of percussion in there, which we can hear here. And adding these in, they just like added the missing element. And then the group, like one thing you do or get when you're layering so much loops is like the claps, they build up, and I don't like that. So at one point the clap was way too loud. So what I do is I just use a kickstart, sidechain the whole loop, and then it ducks out the kick and the clap. And this way it pushes your loops in the mix more instead of like being on top. This Trackspacer is doing the same, but like it looks at the frequencies of the kick. So it's like basically 2 times sidechain to make them sit in the mix. And then just I cut out all the low energy, and I got a filter to filter them in the intro. As for effects on the other channels on the percussion, we just have EQ, claps just EQ, heads just EQ, bass, we looked at that. And then all the percussion goes through this bus. And on this bus, I have a little bit of SSL compression just to glue it together, a little bit of radiator, just to give it a little bit of distortion, noise, whatever you want to call it, analog feel. EQ, cutting out the really lows, and then I got a filter that's filtering the drums in the breakdown. So that's another thing, like he didn't have any drums in the breakdown. I thought it sounded pretty good if they started filtering in here in the breakdown.
House and techno, that's how this goes. House and techno, that's how this goes. House and techno.
It just like, it starts building up the energy, and you know like something's coming. I just thought that sounded nice. Then we got the main lead, which I did quite some processing on it. So I said, like, I thought it sounded kind of thin. So I started by using an EQ, boosting quite a lot of the 150s. Adding in a bit of warmth, and then I used the MaxxBass stereo. Which basically is a plugin to add like bass information to a bass, but this one goes up to 256. So you can also use it to add like low mid frequencies to a lead for like this, for example. It just add like harmonics in the frequency range that you want. So I can select this to be like as low as 30 and up to 250. So it adds like some extra frequencies in that mid-low region which I felt like it was really missing. Then Soothe to make it a little bit cleaner. So if we listen to the delta, it's just getting rid of this. Some OTT to help it cut through the mix. Radiator to give it the analog feel. EQ, cutting out the lows. The auto filter to filter it in the breakdown, and then Trackspacer sidechaining it to the kick. And then I use this key detector to see in what key that lead sound was. And then we got this, which is just adding some reverb here. Because like I wanted to change a little bit there as well. It was something like this. So it did something weird and I just wanted to be like straight. Then there's a second step, which I just added some EQ. And then we have the vocals. Again, I don't think I've done anything to the vocals. No, just sounded great.
House and techno, that's how this go. House and techno, that's how.
And then I did add a bit more of effects. So he has an effect channel here, which is quite cool, but I just felt like it could do with a little bit of extra. So I just added in some like standard effects, all from my own pack. Some crashes, a big crash on a drop, some white noise. Oh, and I did add this alarm in the breakdown as well. Without, I don't know why, but I just like, as soon as I played it, I heard like an alarm in there. So I went on Splice, found one and put it in there. I think it works great to build some anticipation. And then we have this small 808 snare roll here.
Techno, that's how this go.
And then I did some small tweaks to the lead, like in these little fills here.
Techno.
And this one. Just like if we would have the lead running through the whole time, it would be a bit too repetitive. So in some instances, he did change it, like he filtered it down and back open, but then we filtered down and back open. It didn't sound that great, so I tried something else, and it was this.
Techno, that's how this go.
And that's more or less it. So it's basically like, this was a great project for me to work on, because like everything was there more or less, and was mainly like tweaking the arrangement a little bit and then adding some drums to make it a bit fatter, and then tidying up the mix a little bit. Yeah, it was a fun project to work on, and it turned out pretty good, I think. Like the first mix I've done, I had the kick and the bass up like 2 more dBs. I kind of have that problem a lot where I get carried away and I like the low end, and then I push it a bit too much. And then I came back today into the project and I felt like I can take that down by 2 dB, and that allows me to push the master a bit more, which makes everything a bit more balanced. Then I also add a little bit of mastering, also added a little bit of reverb here to the drums, but it's basic stuff. And then I have my standard mastering chain on there, which is the same as always. You can go watch my other videos if you wanna look at that in detail. One more thing that I've done here is in the second breakdown. So we have the kick roll, which works really well. And we have the reverb here building up on the lead, which is getting a little bit louder. Altogether, like the kick roll, it fills out the low end, and the lead getting a little bit louder because the reverb, it pushes the volume right before it drops. And you don't want that. You want your drop to be the loudest part, to have like the most impact. So a simple way like to fix this, I mean, I've talked about this a lot of times. It's not nothing special at all, not rocket science, but I have like a gain, and I'm taking away 2 dB right before it drops. So it goes on. even 2.5 dB, takes it away. And then when it kicks in, it makes you think that the drop is louder than the breakdown, and which helps you give you that impact. And then same for this, you got an auto filter just here. Like the kick roll, it anticipates the low end, like something's coming. But if you don't filter it out here right before it drops, then you have like a lot of low end information. And again, then the drop doesn't feel like it's impacting you. So just like right before it drops, I filter out the low end. And then that just makes you feel like the drop is like harder than it actually is, if that makes sense. And that's all there is to say about this, I think. Again, thanks for trusting me with your music. It was a pleasure working on this one. If you want to get a free Mixdown like this, you can join my community and you can send your music into the demo drop. If there's something in there that I think is worth working on, then I'll reach out to you and do my thing with it. I hope you enjoyed the video, you learned a thing or two, and feel free to subscribe to my channel to watch more stuff like this, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.